Cloud, not computer. Okay. All right. Sorry.
So I mean, let's not add stuff just because we think it could be useful. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking like in basic things, like we have to have a composability model because the current one is broken. I mean, I would go through the through how to extend a token right now, but I think that I think you'd be served better by reading the code yourself
Yeah.
in that.
By the way, I have a question.
Yes.
Why do we need the state keyword? I mean, do you have instance values which are not state?
Value, you mean like the arguments?
No, not arguments, but properties,
Yes.
right?
I think it's just to be clear. So you can put them in a block. Usually they're in a block. I think it's just the fact that CW script is supposed to be familiar to Cosmosm, that sort of mental framework. Yeah, I don't want to like make it too much like a class. So it was mostly.
But it is literally a class. That's what a
It
class
is literally
is.
smart contracts are classes, but the thing is that I want to build it on the framework of that because I don't want it to. It's not meant to be a general purpose programming language.
No, I understand, but
yeah.
Why do you force everybody to always write state when there is not distinguishing those lines from anything else? It's just adding keystrokes.
Okay, so the thing is like we don't need to write state like that. Usually you put state in like a block. Like you can see.
Yeah, but even then, there's no need.
Yeah, I think it just defines the context because everything defined in that will be in the state namespace. So there's other things. So there's other things like maps and other state features that I'm intending to add.
Okay.
So I think that state keyword right now is just more conservative. Like I might add like like it's not just like items. Like what we have right here is just item. But you can also have a map. So should I go over the map syntax a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I have a question. Sorry, before. Do you have a concept, and I mean in Rust, of private public functions?
Yes.
Okay, so do you have the equivalent modifiers as well?
No, not here. Like everything exec is public. Because these are sort of entry points. So they have to be public.
Okay, but if you want to create a private
internal function,
yeah,
or internal execute message.
So you just don't put anything.
Oh, so right now we have I'm considering these things. So, and I probably want to get your opinion on it. So right now we have like in the document it says there's kind of three sort of functions. There's like normal function, which kind of can take anything, and it's basically like a static function.
Okay.
Hello. All right, and then you can take it like whatever. There's what I call reader functions. I want to like fix the terminology here because basically what I want to do is like hello, and then this basically the state is going to be like read only, and then args. I've decided to like instead of going that because you're gonna type this anyway, and to be consistent because inside instantiate you don't have state. I decided just to put like reader like that, and then writer is gonna be like something that can actually write to the state.
So what about the first one, fn hello?
Fn hello. So fn hello is basically a static function. You can call this from anywhere. For example,
you cannot touch the state.
You can. It does not have states in the. So if you type in state here, state would not be okay, here, right? Talking about here.
Yeah.
There's no such thing called state. So I was considering actually turning these.
So it's a pure function.
Special context variables into like this. I need some like modifier on it because you know, like number one, they can possibly like have state as like an argument.
But that's fine. That's is something that is. I mean, the programmer is free to add, but
No. So I'm saying like I should make the official like state keyword like something like
but
that.
why would you pass state to something that is not supposed to see state?
No. So for
What's the use
example,
case?
this is just a generic function, right? So I'm just saying you could pass in state, but by default it doesn't have it inside the it doesn't this is illegal because it's not inside the context. So basically there's some implicit context that you can access from depending on like what type of handler. I'm not sure if it's good design.
I am not sure what you're saying. I mean, what I would think is makes sense, right? So you have three levels of access,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have no access,
Mm-hmm.
period, reader,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have mutator or writer.
Yeah. So the reason why I say that you can pass in the state is sometimes you want to build helper functions that are just pure and don't need to be executed in the context of uh, of a message. For example, all of these instantiate, execute, those are
Well, they
in
wouldn't.
the context of message, right?
Okay, but they would pass a contract then, and they wouldn't pass a state.
Mm-hmm. No, you can use this from the other methods.
Okay, so just to if this is sign, yeah,
Yeah.
and it returns whatever. Okay, it doesn't make any sense because okay, it should be float, but whatever. Yes,
Yeah.
right. This doesn't need any state, and if you want to pass it the state, you would call it like sign of six sign, right? So you would call it like sign state dot radians.
Yeah. I'm not commenting on whether or not it is accessible. Or what the right thing is to do. I'm just saying that in this type of function, just a plain function, like I call it, you can pass in anything, but it implicitly does not have anything injected into its context.
So it doesn't have state dot. Yes, but what? Okay, right. Well, what I'm trying to say here is this, right?
Yeah.
State is not a variable.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So the semantics, right? So if you're passing a, which is an int 32, it's clear that you're putting it on the stack. Just to be explicit, right? And you're creating a copy passed by value. But if you're passing state, I would think that you're passing like some sort of a struct that it could be by reference, and therefore you could have mutability.
Yes.
So it's whether passing state makes you land here or here.
Okay, so
but then why don't you simply because this is reader is on yourself.
Yeah, so basically reader has state, writer also has state, access to that state special variable.
Yes, one read only, obviously the other one.
Yeah. So like another thing I considered was like, like it has state, and state is basically you don't need to like qualify it with a type because it is basically like it's like self or you don't need to qualify it with type, and then we'd like type in like read only. But that that would be very or
But
like.
if okay, if let's say you have this, right, or the
Hmm.
equivalent of this of read-only
Hmm.
state,
Hmm.
why don't you simply do this, right, reader?
I that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm just saying that this was my like this is like
Ah,
equivalent to
okay,
not
but the
equivalent,
FN,
but
okay, the FN, this one, I will still have it, like
Mhm.
with nothing, not even FN, right? Just like this as a default.
Okay.
And this does not have any access to state, but it's still useful.
Yeah, it's like for example, you want the thing is this compiles to Rust, and it exposes things in the namespace that might be useful for people who want to import the library um, as a library and not to deploy as a contract.
So this would be like a static function, right?
Right, correct. That would be like plain functions or static functions. Yes.
And these ones would be instance functions because they access state.
Yeah. So the reason why I don't want to do this thing right here is because of how I do the instantiate and migrate. Basically, they're like special sort of functions that you don't call, or that have a special form.
Why do they have a special form?
No, because they're you don't really. So each of the execute messages, these are enum in Rust. These are variants, but the instantiate and migrate messages are just structs because there's only one.
You mean the
Like
instantiate.
this form, right?
So why don't you use the other possible thingy and just do this?
Because I don't like that. Just because just
It's
because I want.
familiar though.
Okay, I understand it's easier, but a lot of it is also coming from I want to preserve some of the familiarity with the existing model.
Okay, so this is, I think it's an important point, right?
Yeah.
So on one hand, you don't want to piss off the Rust developers,
Right.
but I think that is only half of the story, right? The other half of the story is that you want to build this for people who don't want to learn Rust.
Yeah, but I'm not really. It's not piss off the Rust developers. It's also being in the same mental framework as Cosmosm, because you don't want to be changing mental models too often, and it's helpful to like have this sort of parallel when you're interacting with other smart contracts, and then when you're ultimately sometimes you're not even you want to interact with a CW script contract, but you're working in the context of that. I don't want to be like you need to do too many like jump through too many hoops. It should like feel natural, which is why it's called CW script. Like it should be the essence of Cosmosm without the boilerplate.
Okay, well that's you're the designer, so this is a I don't, how can I say non-functional design decision. Uh, I would
It
I
says
would
I shouldn't.
honestly, but coming from outside, and
Uh-huh.
this is probably because I come from outside,
Mm-hmm.
I would, you know, take away everything I can and make it as similar as possible to the standard languages that everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. So if there is something I need to learn,
Mm-hmm.
that should have its own keywords and everything. But if you're doing stuff that everybody knows, just use the same syntax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a favor as the rest of the world. And yes, the language is going to be a little bit opinionated, right?
All right.
So if so, you're not going to expose 100% of what you could do with Rust,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to create a paradigm, and that I guess that's what the language is. Creating a language is you create a way of creating contracts, which may not be 100% of what everybody's doing, but who cares?
Right. So I think like implicitly So to kind of give you a history of how this language evolved, it initially started like as a spec language, right? Like I wanted to define this is what's going to be in the instantiate, what's going to be in execute, and then that's why it grew from like this thing has stayed. I've never really questioned it, but now that you make me question it, I feel like it is now consciously to keep it in because I want it to adhere to the thing. Like you could read this and then you could imagine what it would translate to in Cosmosm because there's not too many transformations.
Right, and this makes total sense to you because you come from that world.
Yeah. Yeah.
From me coming from an outside world, I don't give a flying fuck about how it looks in Cosmosm.
Random people as well. Right? I'm also not trying to target random people to like. I'm not. Okay, I'm not. That's not. I'm targeting random people, but I don't make it a priority to placate to their familiarity, like making it, exactly like JavaScript or exactly like.
It doesn't have to be exactly like JavaScript. Right, but like, what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is the easier you can make it without compromising some other design goals, the more people will flock.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that, right?
I think that's what I've been aiming for. So the instantiate here would be similar to the dunder init or instantiate in Ruby. Like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I was not suggesting that we copy something else. I was at that particular case. I was just saying.
Yeah. I understand.
You needed to get rid of the problem of duplicate symbols. That's why I suggested that because that cannot be the name of a method.
Right. I think that we don't need to do the dot instantiate actually because it's kind of
implicit. Oh yeah, no, you don't because it's implicit.
Yeah, and we just do that then.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to put it here? Dot instantiate, so you solve the problem.
Where?
I mean, in the definition.
Can you show me? I'll follow you.
Oh, I don't know how it looks. Maybe it's bad, but there.
Why?
Special, because it's special.
I think I'll just keep the keyword.
Okay.
Like, because you see, like the other ones, like they have FN, blah blah blah, FN. Blah, blah.
Okay.
This one is like you don't have any keyword and you don't have any name. It's like a function but has no name. It's like constructor, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yes.
Do you want to track which functions are pure, which functions are read-only?
No. So what do you mean by pure? Like they don't modify any state, or
they don't even read the state, like the sign.
So the thing is, like, I don't want to. So there's three types. Like there's static, where it's basically just it could take in anything. I don't care about injecting state into it. Basically, I just want to avoid having to do like read state every time, and then because you're already writing this read thing, right?
Just use a modifier. Just a modifier. So you have the normal definition is this one. Yeah.
Okay, the problem is this one is that state is injected, right? So then that state thing is injected, so it kind of feels weird because the normal one you don't have it injected. So it feels
then add static.
So
static. So you cannot have fn by itself. You either have static fn, or you have read fn or reader. Okay, stop trying to convince me to use funds. All right. Yeah.
Okay. So what if we just did static by itself? And maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that, okay.
It's so semantically speaking, if they are not modifiers, they could imply that they're completely different beasts.
Right.
They are not functions, right? The fn, you're taking away saying this is a function of a type, but like this is a read.
This is a read, like you're saying a verb?
This is a category. The category of that is a read. I don't know how else. We can try. Let's see if it
No,
feels
no, no,
natural.
because the category is, I mean, this type is defined like this though, so it won't be confused with a read.
No, I didn't mean type in the language sense. I mean type is in
Oh
the
yeah.
word type.
Well, if you think about it, it is a, if you do, it does read, but the thing is, um, it does read, and it is like a read function in a sense, right?
Okay, I mean, we can try.
No, yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things I don't really have a strong opinion or
Yeah, not
an
yet.
answer.
Not yet.
Well, we will both have a strong opinion once we try it, right?
Well, I mean, the goal is to have opinions that are strong but also well reasoned. So
Of course, and changeable, right?
right, right.
But at the end of the day, I've never done this before, so
Okay.
I need to see the consequence of the tentative decisions that we make.
Cool, cool. Okay, so I just exposed you to that.
One thing I would really like, though,
Mhm.
is the fact that both static read and write, they can only call, well, the same or lower, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
read can only call read functions or static functions.
Have you seen my? Have you actually read this document right here?
I read it, browsed it, but I haven't read every single detail.
All right. So I say what you can call from where, like caller, call,
Okay.
right? Basically, uh, basically you can a caller, like if you're a reader, you can actually call. You can't call writer. Basically, readers can't call writers.
But static should not be able to call readers.
Static can call. I think they can call readers if they are passed. So static should not call readers. Let's see.
No.
Yeah, I think that's wrong.
They should be pure, right? So they should
Yeah.
have no access whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right. Static.
And absolutely no writers
Okay,
as
yes.
well.
True. You're right. X cross. I was getting monotonous. Okay, writer.
Can call whatever.
Basically,
Instantiate is a write.
yep.
Exec and query, they are remote, so
Exec
Uh-huh.
is the same as instantiate because they actually write to the chain. Query can call reader but not writer.
it query. I think query should be able to. Wait, what is the exec and the query? Sorry. So yeah, they are the external ones, right? External ones, exec should change state, but query should not change state. Yep, agreed. And what is migrate? I've never seen that.
So migrate, you'll get into that later. Basically, when a contract needs to update the code, it's basically instead of instantiating it, there's a migrate where you take the previous state and you can
Okay.
yeah. It's basically
So
another.
it's like instantiate, basically.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense to me.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, and I think that was pretty much it. Do you have okay? So the
Oh,
map.
the other thing is would be public and private.
No public and no private.
No, everything is public.
Everything's well, maybe prefix with the underscore if you don't really want it. The thing is,
I
like,
mean,
I don't think we'll get into the encapsulation sort of.
no, it's not about encapsulation. This is about defining an API for the next guy, right?
Yes.
So if you have a complex contract and you have four methods that you want, the other methods that you want to be called, right? But there is a bunch of other stuff that, however, you don't really care, do you? Because it's the same as public, private, and public. No, yes, it is. It's the same as query and exec.
No. So query and execs, they all
Yes.
have to be public. They all have to.
Yeah,
all
those.
these,
Yeah, those are public. Everything else is
they're
private.
basically the interface, right?
Yeah, but everything else is private.
No, everything.
Once,
I think if you we maybe having a convention that if it's underbar then it's private because I don't want to. I'm not going to enforce. I'm not going to enforce. It's going to be like Python where it's mostly convention. I'm not going to enforce public and private. Basically, it's going to happen at the module level when it compiles to Rust, and it's just not going to expose it.
no, but it's fine because basically when a contract speaks to another contract,
right?
in any case,
it's all going to be like with the
through execs and queries.
Yes.
So that is as the function of public, fundamentally.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that the public and private would matter is just how the other static ones get exposed as Rust. Yeah, they can't call the readers on other contracts anyway. So
They can't call the readers on other methods, right? So they cannot
Right,
call
exactly.
these either.
right, they can only
But okay, but there is another thing, which is a separate concern, is how do we do stuff which is not contracts,
what do you
like
mean?
a library?
Yeah. So with that, we're gonna get into because we're gonna basically we're gonna make like I talked to Maurizio yesterday. The CW script Rust interface. How do we expose like methods?
Yeah, that's also part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's it for the for language right now. I think like the language the one that you sort of like okay, let's say if we roll back the dice and go in with our new refined language thing, maybe I32 instead of that. I think we also had an owner, right? Yesterday it's gonna be adder, right? And then
Why do we need the owner?
basically who gets to like we need to check if you can reset it. Like basically
Okay.
equals to message.sender.
Okay, fine.
No sign reader. Okay, increment state count here. Okay, add. So this thing return. Also I forced this. That has to count +1. So let's go down all the way to this thing. So I think we should have a special sort of one. So call we don't need these because we don't do that.
Yeah.
And none of these, none of the work that we did.
I think we need the at someplace to define our support.
So count plus okay. What if we did like self?
If you do self, it looks like it's gonna call directly.
Call directly?
Well, I was thinking about self. The problem with self is that you don't know the address.
No, I'm kidding.
You don't know the address, right?
You do.
Because there are many copies of self.
No, you don't. This one, you know, when a contract like knows itself. So it's like this, it knows its instance sort of address.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the difference between the contract as a concept and the contract instance. Inside
Okay,
the exec,
if
it's
I were
always
to be
the same.
nasty, I would
Yep.
take away call at this point.
Okay, but the thing is, this one results in a message. Okay,
Yes, but the self should tell you that.
yeah, but there may be instances where you want to make an execute message. So this one,
Yes, and so you're gonna be applying that to a special type, right?
yeah,
So you still need to create that whatever you put instead of self.
sorry.
So if you do let's body equals my
Lie flat code.
and then you do this. Right, you already know that body is a remote node, is a remote instance.
Yeah.
The type of body is a special type, right?
Type of buddy is gonna be like yes, it's like a contract color. So basically, self is gonna be like my teradap at contract dot address, like the current contract.
Exactly.
About me.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Me. Me.
Yeah, maybe you want to put an at so to remind yourself that it's not a simple variable.
At me.
At me, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. What do you think of C sharp or C++?
It's also possible, but the concept of message is probably conveyed better by at.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this one, it says it's a contract at this address. And then, okay. 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 And this one, you can actually, this one's basically an instance, right?
It's a remote instance, right? It's yeah, something you send messages to.
Okay. So why don't we just make the me special variable. So you want to get rid of call. I think this is a case where let's try it out with the call and then see if it's really unnecessary. And then like maybe we can infer it. Because the thing is like we might build a message.
Right. I understand.
So let's just be conservative here and just keep
Yeah.
the call for now.
Oh, another thing. Maybe we can do this. I don't know if it's something you like or not.
Mhm.
Instead of doing this, body.add, you can either do this or this.
Okay,
So
yeah, so this is a namespace one.
yeah, this is namespace, so I don't like it very much. But this one, in my opinion, makes sense, at least to a C Sharp developer.
No, because this is gonna be like a pointer.
It would be like a pointer or something remote, right?
Right.
It indicates the reference, which is
Yeah.
in our world is a message sending a message over the network is the correspondence to the reference.
I see.
Whereas body.add would mean, I have a copy of body called add on it.
Yeah. So something you might find interesting in Rust is that let's say we have like let A equals to like 5, let B is equal to like, let's say okay, let's do some struct, right? and then let's say this thing, like or let's just do like imagine like it has like, well, you can't actually do this. You have that C equals. Right. So if I did sorry, if I did this thing dot some method, it actually like like all the way like successively dereferences all of them to the thing that's pointing at the end.
Yes. So it doesn't use the arrow.
Doesn't use the arrow. Just a Rust thing.
Right,
but we have no reference. We don't really have references here, and I don't think
this is not about a reference, right? This is about a remote
I understand.
contract.
This is just trivia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use the different arrow if you don't want to call that, right? You can use the one with the equal.
I think it looks too unrusty because it looks like this. It looks like match.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like some.
Sure. I mean, no problem.
Mapping like in Ruby. What is it? What is the thing in Ruby? Again, like how?
In Ruby.
Is it like that?
There's a way, or I think you can use the dot. I mean, you can use the dot.
Oh, okay, like.
No, without the colon, right?
Dot.
So the colon is for symbols.
Yeah. So I was making.
But if you want to use the class, you can use the dot, I think.
Class, you can use a dot.
I
was thinking like, how do you do a map in Ruby?
A map.
Like this is
God
pretty
knows,
standard, right? Like ABC.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate it.
I
hate it because it gets like kind of confusing sometimes. I think like this would look like a better symbol, like in Lisp or some Lisps. But you know what? Like
Jesus. Or we can make it look like PHP. That's always a winner.
Yeah, I was considering doing like state like this, like the special ones.
That's very Perly.
Yeah, but how would I denote it as special? Because like I need the problem is I need these like variable things to be of any type, any thing.
But I think state is what in for example in C#, it would be this.
Yes, it would be this.
So call it this. A lot of people are going to be familiar. JavaScript people are going to be familiar too.
Let me think about it. Just because like I'm thinking about, okay, all right. Let's decide this on a different time.
Sure.
Do you have time still, or are you hungry?
I have time.
Okay, because what I want to do right now is just to give you a little like end-to-end compiler tutorial.
Okay.
On Antler, and just like do like basically build a simple language, and then in Antler, so you can understand how how it maps to CW script.
Okay, if it's that long, let's take a break.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
If it's maybe you can take your lunch. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be that long, but
I can see an easy 1 hour.
Okay, if you think that's long, then yes. Okay.
It's long to make my to wait for lunch. It's 1 p.m. so.
You share your lunch.
But then I'm more than happy to stay as long as you want.
Sure.
Really cool. Oh, this stuff, by the way, is super cool.
Okay.
I am super into this.
All right. I hope
I'm gonna make I'm gonna make my own language at some point.
You have to. You are.
No, not CW script. Just
no.
A
I'm
random
saying,
language.
Like, literally, you are when we're going to build
well, the compiler tutorial, I'm gonna do like a little bit, and then you're gonna do the rest, and then probably build on top of that. So I think that's we're gonna be will be like sufficient to give you enough context on just like really understanding the CW script. Because once you get the structure, it's just declarative, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Enjoy your lunch. Ping me.
Yeah. See you in about 1 hour, more or less.
Okay. Cool. Take
Okay.
care.
Bye bye.